This is FYI News 13, brought to you by SSPTV and the Hazleton Standard Speaker.
For your information, a longtime business in Freeland is getting ready to close its doors. We take a walk down memory lane with the owner next. Hello and welcome to FYI Weekend. Thanks for spending some of your precious time on the weekend with us. I'm Ken Cara. Well, it's a bittersweet time for one of the area's most well-known video stores. As Lisa Sugar reports, it outlasted the bigger stores, but now it too will soon be closing.
Not many businesses have the satisfaction of serving a community for 3 decades, but that is the case with one video store in Freeland. In fact, it's one of the few remaining stores of its kind, and soon it too will close.
This video store was actually Tim's dream. So for me, I felt like I was going to be letting him down, but in reality, I wasn't. His vision was always to outlast Blockbuster. So we made 30 years and Blockbuster didn't, so we accomplished what he always wanted.
Owner Tammy Martin talking about her decision to close Video Mania in Freeland. The store started by her late husband, Tim Martin, the former mayor of Freeland who lost his battle with cancer. While her decision to close the business was extremely difficult, so was the decision to continue after Tim's death.
For the first week, I didn't even step foot in the store. It was definitely hard. Before Tim got sick, we had talked about closing the store. And, I always kept telling him, no, just, hang in there. What are you in such a hurry for? And then when, we knew things were getting worse, he was like, I should sell it. And I said, we'll be fine. And then after he did pass and I had to come back down here, I sat and thought about it and I thought maybe we should have sold it. But I had my kids, they were my strength, and we decided, nope, we're going to do this and we're going to do everything Tim wanted.
The one thing she and Tim never regretted was the fact that the business was for the community. 30 years of movies and rentals, 30 years worth of teams wearing the Video Mania name.
I know there was probably at least 26 baseball teams, basketball teams, bowling leagues, race cars, youth softball, ladies softball, you name it. If it was out there, Video Mania was included in it.
While the business provided a steady income for the family, even more valuable are the photos and memories that will surely last a lifetime. This is just some of the souvenirs from video conventions and private parties that video store owners like the Martins were privy to.
Tim got to hold the Emmy from the Titanic, which there's a picture over there. The stars that played in it, we got to meet them. We got to talk to them. We got their autographs. Puss in Boots, the animated storybook. We went to a convention the one time, and the artist that does all of the art for the movie was there. He drew us our own personal picture. I mean, it was a really cool experience for us.
So how did this movie rental business in the tiny community of Freeland survive for 30 years?
I personally believe it lasted for 30 years because of Tim. I mean, everybody loved Tim, the personality. There were people that would come in here daily just to talk to him. His father worked here. His father was a great man. He had people that would come in just to sit and talk to him for a little bit. I'm just glad that I was able to continue what Tim wanted. But after 30 years, it's time to move on.
And move on is what she now plans to do, with the support of her children Amanda and Brandon. Tammy will still be a part of the community she loves.
My tanning salon, Tim and I opened 17 years ago. I have wonderful tanning customers. I enjoy that business. That's going to stay open, but it's going to be seasonal. It's going to be closed for the winter. And the building is also going to double as an office space for my son's company, which he took over Music Master Entertainment DJ services. So he'll still have an office space that he can meet with his brides and grooms.
The decision to finally close the doors of Video Mania came after another difficult time, the recent loss of Tammy's dad.
The day that I lost him, I think I really sat back and looked at life. And I was spending 60, 70 hours a week working. And when, you lose two people that are so close to you, you realize that life is too short.
And while a company has offered to buy the contents of her store, she has decided to first offer the thousands of movies and video games to her dedicated customers who helped keep Videomania open for the past 3 decades.
The community's been so wonderful to Videomania that I would rather see them get the movies that they're looking for. In 30 years, we accumulated a lot of movies. I still have VHS movies. I have some of the original VHS horror movies that you can't get no more. There's people that want them. So I'd rather give that benefit to my customers who supported us for all these years than give them to a business that I don't even know who they are.
Tammy said rentals will still be available through September 1st, and after that, she will then have a blowout sale on the merchandise and
I also have all those teams that we sponsored. Come in, let me know what team it was, what year it was. I probably have the trophy on my roof, so if you want it, you're more than welcome to have it. It's just a matter of waiting till I find it.
On September 15th, her birthday, Tammy Martin will close the doors here at Videomania for the final time. She will also close a chapter on what has been a gift to this community for the past 30 years. Reporting from Freeland for FYI, I'm Lisa Sugart.
Thanks, Lisa, and best of luck to Tammy Martin on her future endeavors. Well, it is the weekend, and it's a great time to pick up the Standard Speaker. Our media partner is always working very hard to make sure you're up to date on all local news and sports information. So pick up your weekend Standard Speaker filled with features and great news stories as well. And go to standardspeaker.com for breaking news. There's a lot of sports coming your way on FYI Weekend. After this break, our Lisa Sugart talks with a man who has been a part of racing in our area for a long time. They'll talk about the tragedy that occurred with NASCAR driver Tony Stewart. And in the Sportscast, we meet some of the talented riders at Hazelton City View BMX.
This is FYI News 13, brought to you by SSPTV and the Hazelton Standard Speaker.
We're on FYI Weekend in your community, and we're back here at the Nescopeck State Park. We're with Brian Heath. He is one of the assistant managers here. And it's going to be hunting season. So we want people to know what they should expect, especially hunters, if they decide to hunt in a state park.
Okay. First thing, you need to have a valid hunting license. You need to be aware of the season dates and bag limits. And it's important to know which areas of the park are open to hunting. You need to know where the safety zones are, and all that information can be obtained from the park office. You can pick up one of our maps or just come by and see us. As far as season dates and different regulations for the Game Commission, you want to pick up a copy of the Hunting and Trapping Digest, which we have available at the park office, and you can get them from different retailers in the area as well.
Now, if you're not a hunter, but you're a hiker, for safety reasons, you should also know where hunters are going to be out for that time of year.
Correct. Hikers and trail users should be aware of the season dates as well, and as far as what areas are open to hunting. Hikers are encouraged to wear orange. Hunters wear orange, so the hikers should too. We have loaner vests available at the park office. If you're concerned about it, you should stay out of the hunting areas, and Sunday is a great time to come out because there's no hunting allowed on Sundays.
Okay, and what kind of game are they actually allowed to hunt during the seasons?
Pretty much everything. All game species are available for hunting here in the park. The only restriction would be groundhogs or woodchucks are not allowed to be hunted. The common species would be white-tailed deer, wild turkey, black bear, ruffed grouse, and other common game species.
Again, all that information you could find out about if you're not sure or you're new to hunting, you can find out right here in your office.
Right here at the office or online, either DCNR's website or the Game Commission's website.
All right. Brian, thanks for joining us. Again, we're here on FYI Weekend in your community. We're talking at the Nescopeck State Park, enjoying the great outdoors.
Let's move on to our FYI Weekend Community Calendar. The Wings of Freedom Tour will return to the Hazleton Municipal Airport on Monday afternoon. The event, sponsored by the Callings Foundation, will be held Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at the airport. You are invited to explore the majestic bomber aircraft inside and out. For flight reservations, prices, and questions, you can go to the website on your screen or call 800-568-8924. And now here's Lisa Sugart's interview with a man very involved in local racing, Dino Alberto.
The racing world is mourning the loss of one of its own on Saturday night when Kevin Ward Jr. was killed in a sprint race at Canandaigua Motorsports Park. Tony Stewart was driving in that race as well and was the racer who was alleged to have hit him and struck him, and ultimately he died from the injuries sustained in that race. With me to talk about all of this and the reaction that has been going on across the country and across the world on this is Dino Alberto, who is a motorsports journalist with both a columnist for the Standard Speaker and the Press Enterprise, and you're also the vice president of the Eastern Motorsports Press Association, so you're well versed on the racing world. Dino, what went through your mind when you heard about this terrible accident?
Just like anything else that we see in this sport, it's dangerous, and you just get this eerie feeling that I hope this isn't what happened, but unfortunately, getting up that morning and reading the news reports, it was just a tragic event. Dark day for motorsports, especially short track racing in general, for the unfortunate situation.
And after it happened, the fact that we heard it wasn't bad enough, but then right away, because of social media, things change nowadays. We see video posted of it immediately and people making comments on it, and that changes the whole perspective.
Probably the biggest thing about this is that it was involved with a NASCAR star, and that star just happened to be Tony Stewart, who races up to 3-4 times a week, not just on Sundays at the big tracks that they compete at, but he's a racer, and he is what made this to the magnitude that it is. Had this not been that type of situation, yes, it would have still gotten those headlines, but this was Tony Stewart, the racer's racer, and that's why we are at the height of where it is with the situation of the death.
What do you think right now of what is being said? Because there are people on both sides of this issue. Too premature until the investigation is completed?
Very premature. The whole problem we have, especially the social media side of it, is that everybody becomes a critic, and a lot of people don't quite understand the many different aspects, especially in that type of racing. Sprint car racing, it's just high octane from start to finish. These guys are in these winged cars. Weight to horse ratio power, these are one of the fastest cars out on a circuit. It's a little half mile, maybe less than that dirt track. They are winging through corners at speeds of over 100 miles an hour. They are side by side, and to not actually understand as a fan what it's like to sit in one of these cars, to sit in that cockpit and just be strapped in, and you have to be so focused on things that are happening inches apart from you. Reaction time is very minimal, and from what I saw and my take of what that video showed us is that it looked like a normal racing incident. It's things that happen every Saturday night, every Friday night at your local track, no matter where you are, be it dirt or asphalt. Yeah, they did make contact, but it didn't seem to me that it was intentional. Kevin Ward did spin out. He hit the wall, and it appeared that all he had was a flat tire. I think he could have been able to continue on, but he broke one of the golden rules, which is he got out of his race car. And he got out of that race car, and he stepped out onto that racetrack. And not only did he step out onto it, but he came down further than he should have even thought to begin with. And unfortunately, he was vulnerable to safety at that point, and we know what the consequence was.
That's the big thing, people saying that getting out of the car was, is that a rule on all racetracks? I mean, you as a racing enthusiast and expert, you know more about this than I do. I love NASCAR, but I really don't know much about sprint.
I could tell you from NASCAR right down to go-karts, even in motocross type racing, one of the first rules they will tell you at drivers' meetings, and you should know this as a driver going in, you need to have a good idea of what the rule book states, but you do not get out of your car unless there is a safety factor involved. Perhaps the car may be on fire. And one of the things that maybe folks don't realize is that there's radio communication between the race director and the driver himself. So there is a lot of communication that goes on out there, but the number one rule is you do not get out of the car until track personnel comes up to you and gives you the okay to do so.
Well, the investigation continues. No charges have yet been filed, and we will wait and see how this all plays out. Thanks so much for joining us and talking to us about this today, Dino.
Thank you very much.
Meanwhile, on Friday, NASCAR added a rule ordering drivers to not approach the track or moving cars after accidents if a car is involved in an accident and cannot keep going, and there's no extenuating circumstances such as smoke in the cockpit or fire. The driver should not loosen any personal safety equipment until directed to do so. Sports is next on FYI. We have a special story about Hazleton City View BMX.
This is FYI News 13 Sports.
Some of my favorite memories of growing up in the great city of Hazleton involve bike rides with my friends. We went on adventures all over, and I'll never forget the day I was finally allowed to cross Church Street. That was like a rite of passage. Anyway, it wasn't really a sport for us, but for this group of kids and young adults, it's a different story. When you're growing up, there's nothing like going on a bike ride with your friends. But this isn't your typical bike ride.
Pedal down to the 30-foot line. After that line, which is right there, you could start passing people, and I like to get to the middle of the track and just stay in the middle and just pretty much keep pedaling. Well, going into turn 2, I want to stay like in the middle of the track, not too high or too low, so someone won't pass you up. Going into the 3rd straight, that's the rhythm section. That's where you can gain a lot of speed and make a big difference. So you want to do a maneuver called pumping, which gives you more speed going into the 4th straight.
What's pumping? Explain that to me.
It's kind of like when you're going over the jump, you want to push down.
Once you get to know the Hazleton City View BMX track, it can become one of your friends. Just ask this first-year rider who loves the sport.
Was it scary the first time you did it?
Yeah.
How'd you get through? How'd you get over your fear?
I don't know.
You can't stop when you go down the hill, huh?
Yeah.
You can tell just from looking at the track that it's loved. It's well groomed and there's no litter to be found. This place means a lot to the riders that come here. Corey Longo and his dad are two of the caretakers of the track.
I like it because it was the first track I've been on, and I've been doing it for a long time.
This is
and
home.
It's just, yeah. Well, I help my dad sometimes, which might be like a whole day up here.
What do you help your dad with?
I help my dad work on the track.
All right, so what do you guys do? What are you and your dad doing?
We sweep the track, we water the track, and we rake it.
Jacob Grillik started coming to the track when he was 4 years old. Now he's 15 and he takes the sport very seriously. He travels all over to compete and tries to be a part of as many national events as he can.
It's a good track. Honestly, like, it's not my favorite track. Like, there's a lot of really nice tracks, a lot of people, and this is more of a beginner's track, but once you get the skills on this track, you could easily take it to different tracks.
But the track has a special place in his heart. While he can run through the track in about 30 seconds, the friendships he made here will last much, much longer.
It's pretty cool. I mean, hanging out with people that, do the same thing as you do, it's one of my favorite places to be, I guess.
Olivia Longo has been coming to the track since she was 12. Now she's in college. She wants to be an elementary school teacher, and she says working with the younger kids at the track has helped her with her goal.
So you're the only one I talked to so far who can drive a car? I mean, do you have a license
Yeah.
or anything? Okay. All right, so the only one. I mean, once that happens, does the biking kind of be like, all right, or do you still, was it still?
I still really like riding. I'm not as competitive as I was, though, because there's a lot of other stuff going on. But I really enjoy being up here and spending my time up here.
Brandon Bolish is an Eagle Scout. Every year the track hosts a Boy Scout camp where the kids stay overnight and get to try out BMX. That's how Bolish got his start.
Well, this track had a big impact on my life. I mean, I've always been here for like 6 years now, and it's been the best 6 years of my life.
For his Eagle Scout project, Bolish did some work at the track that included staining the bleachers and painting the concession stand. The large bank of earth and coal behind the track is an imposing but quiet reminder that Hazleton used to be a much different place. Every generation has different stories about growing up in the city, but many of those stories probably include a few summertime bike rides.
Being that you were up here for so long, one of the older ones, how important is it to get the younger kids involved and to get more people involved maybe in the community?
It is important to me because I definitely think this is a sport that isn't really well known around here. And it's really something like a family sport that a lot of people could be involved in. And it's not for a certain age because we have really young kids and we have older kids that race. So I definitely think it helps get families involved in doing stuff together.
If you are interested, your first ride at Hazelton City View BMX is free. Now, before I sign off for the weekend, I wanted to point out there's a lot of good people in the media, and one of the great people in the media in our area did their final broadcast on Friday night. Beth Menzinger has done an outstanding job covering sports in and around the Hazelton area, and I want to give her the ultimate Hazelton salute. So I have my Farmer's Iced Tea here. Salute, Beth, and good luck in the next chapter of your life. FYI, we'll be right back. It's the weekend, and I love sitting at a high top, ordering some delicious apps and having a few beverages with my friends at Bottlenecks, where they have an awesome atmosphere with awesome food.
Hello again and welcome back to the Hazelton Animal Shelter. Here I am with Maxine, or Max as she likes to be called, who is only an 8-month-old poodle mix who is very friendly and affectionate, but she's also very submissive and a little bit nervous around strangers. Although Max is very friendly, she's a little bit nervous with people when she first meets them, so we don't recommend her for families with smaller children, younger children under the age of 10. Max is very quiet and very clean. Despite being only 8 months old, she appears to be fairly well house-trained, although we can never guarantee that she won't have an accident or two, especially during her adjustment period in her new home. Max is already spayed and up to date on all of her shots, and she also tested negative for heartworm and Lyme. That's it for Maxine. Let's have a look at our cats. And here I am with Baby Bear and Batman, who are two little approximately 6-month-old domestic short-hair black kittens here in our colony. And despite their similar appearance, they are not siblings. They're just two young black cats that happen to be about the same age and same size. Batman is neutered and little Baby Bear here is spayed. Both animals have tested negative for feline leukemia and FIV, and they are also fully vaccinated for rabies and distemper. Both kittens are sort of in their climbing phase, so we recommend somebody who's already owned a cat or two to adopt either one of these, as the kitten phase can involve a little bit of training and discipline. Seasoned cat owners are always best for kittens. Both cats are very affectionate and love to be held. However, if you're holding one, the other tends to get a little bit jealous. So if anybody is interested in adopting Baby Bear or Batman here, or our dog we featured earlier, please come on down to 101 North Poplar Street here at the Hazelton Animal Shelter.
Missed any of FYI Weekend, and that includes our story on Video Mania closing in Freeland, on Hazelton City View BMX, and Chris, an Adopt Me double fisting cats. That was very impressive. Make sure you go to facebook.com/FYI News 13 to check it out, or SSPTV.com. That's it for this weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Take it easy, everyone.